There we go.
All right.
Good
Are
evening,
you excited?
everyone. I'm so excited. We're getting ready to start soon.
What are you excited about?
It's the first ever Flippin Experts Academy live training. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah. I'm excited because tomorrow's Wednesday already, and that means we're closer to buying another house.
Every day closer.
Every day closer. Are you guys excited about real estate? If you are, you guys can send us questions. You can send us emails. You can, on here, there's a section where you can write questions. At the end, I want to do a good 30-minute Q&A. Or as long as you guys keep questions coming. I already have students emailing us questions.
We've been getting emails all week long,
Yep.
text messages, messages to Facebook. So we're so excited to answer some of your questions that you've been sending in.
Yep.
And if you didn't get a chance to send them beforehand, you can go ahead and send them now.
That's right. Just go in there, start firing them away. And then when we get done with our training, we're going to go through there and just start reading them off and start answering them. And some of you guys I know are probably out there going to try to stump me, but I don't know if you can, because if I don't know the question, I don't know the answer, Kelsey will, right? I'm going to act like I don't even know what the question is. I'm going to go right over it. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to go right over your question.
So you're saying they won't stump you, they'll just stump me.
I'm just saying I'm not going to read the question, so you ain't going to know if you stump me or not.
No, I think I should get to read the question.
We'll see.
We'll see how
If you read it,
we'll take turns.
You have to answer it. But anyway, guys,
Okay.
We're excited because Flippin Experts Academy is up and running. There's so many amazing things going on with it. If you're not a member, okay, we have some people in here that are already members. We have other people that are not members yet. We did that on purpose. We wanted the very first one to be able to bless as many people as possible, okay? Only do we do this for our members on a consistent basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to up our game.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, okay.
Surprise announcement.
I don't know if I want to say it yet. I'm going to save it till the end. And if these people are still on at the end, they'll find out what it is. Let's do that.
I like that.
Because I know what it's taking for you to sit here at 8 o'clock at night, right?
After a long day of work, everything else going on in the world with family and friends.
You're here, you want to learn, you want to educate yourself, you're trying to better yourself, you're trying to make better profits, right? Come on.
Always.
We're not doing real estate just because we love property, right?
That's part of it.
That is a big part of it. But we also want to provide for our families. And I know so many of you guys, some of you are in the Flippin Experts Academy. Some of you are not, okay? Here's what I'm doing. If you are not and you want to become a member, listen, go to flippinexperts.com right now. We have a few minutes. I'm not kicking this thing off for another 2-3 minutes because I want everybody to jump on and be ready and be prepared. But if you're not a member, go jump on it. There's no G in Flippin. We're really, really cool, right? We're like Flippin, IN, we didn't put the G, experts.
The real reason is that the email address was already taken, so we just had to get rid of that G.
Don't ruin it, baby.
This is our inner circle. These are our people. They get to know the ins and outs.
Okay, so that's what happened. Actually, my shirt, it came without a G, so we just went with it. No, that's not true. That's not true. But listen, if you're not part of Flippin Experts Academy, I'm going to tell you what it is now and at the end, just because you need to know everything that it involves because it's going to benefit you in so many different ways. Okay. If you go to Flippin Expert, you can scroll through it while I'm talking to you about it. But a couple things that it entails is what, Kelsey? What's your favorite thing that it entails?
Live monthly training like this. So we've got it scheduled now. The third Tuesday of every night at 8 p.m.
Every month, every night.
Every night. Gosh, I'm excited. I want to do it all the time now. Good catch. Third Tuesday once
every month. I'm gonna say it. Kelsey's so excited. She gets her second wind at night, guys. I don't.
My coffee finally kicked in. It took a while.
Her third cup. But anyway, the third Tuesday of every month, we sit here for an hour and a half. We train you guys on something that is going to help you go to the next level, right? I mean, live. You can ask us questions. Hey, I'm having a problem with this. Hey, I have one property that's this. Hey, I can't figure out this number. Hey, here's a solution for it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? Interaction every single month. And we might up our game in that. That might be my surprise too. Anyway, you also have access to the Fix and Flip training course, right? 14 modules of training, downloads.
And
videos.
Actually, I'm looking at our list right now. A lot of you have already done the complete training for the course. So woohoo, congratulations, guys.
But you're not done. You're
Never
not
ends.
done. You know why? Because I uploaded a rental course in there for you. How do you create wealth through rentals? I know somebody in here. I know Debbie's on here. I know she knows how to do it, right? But I created a course because I want you guys to succeed, right? Fix and flip is short-term money, right? You get that quick money, but you have to keep going out and finding deals, right? To keep doing it. But with rentals, it's now long-term wealth you're creating and even generational wealth, right? These homes and these properties can be passed down to your family members. So how cool is that? So I uploaded that course in there. Same price. You're not paying for one course and then paying for another course and then paying for extra training. My bonus training, babe, that you and I did, I mean, I did most of it. That's why I'm saying it's mine. But
I just press start and stop on the camera.
I don't even let her do that anymore, guys. I figured out a way with a little remote and I can do it. Otherwise, she distracts me. I'm trying to record and she's like doing things and looking so pretty.
Oh.
But anyway, I actually already uploaded over 20 more trainings that are right up your alley. Have to do a fix and flip, wholesales, rentals, wholesalers. How do you sell to an investor? Like, wouldn't you want to know how to sell to me if you were a wholesaler or you're trying to sell a rental, right? Hey,
or you're flipping so much, you have too many houses, you can't do it all. How do you wholesale them?
that happens, right? When you get so many properties coming in and your crews can't keep up and you don't want to sit on them, I start wholesaling, okay? All those courses are in there. How do you vet contractors? What should you look for? I mean, tons of stuff. I don't want to keep ranting and raving on it, but there's so many different trainings in there. And guess what? You get it all for $1 for the first 7 days. How awesome is that? 7 days, you get 7 full trainings on fix and flipping properties. Full trainings. It's a first 7 courses of my training for that course. You get them, $1.
That's a great deal.
If you like it, you stay in it. And then it's only $79 a month and you get every single thing that we're including. And I forgot all about the newsletter.
That's true.
You get a newsletter every single week with a new training in it, new motivation, new inspiration, new podcasts that we're doing where we're sharing what we're doing with the world and just giving as much information away as possible. You get that included in that too. Every week.
Amazing.
Amazing.
But that's not why we're here.
That's not even why we're here,
We're
guys.
here for training.
We're here for training for today.
So
Okay.
thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
It is the first Flippin Experts Academy live training, and we are so thankful that you're here and so excited to have you as a part of our family.
And that's what we consider it, right? That's why we try to give away so much content. It's because the more we give away, the more you guys succeed and the faster you succeed. Like if it took me 5 or 10 years to get where I'm at, I want you to be there in like less than a year. Because when you can learn from somebody that's doing it and doing it right and doing it fast, if you can learn from that and implement it and learn faster, you're going to be way more successful, way faster than I am because you got the information before I did. Okay. I had to go through the pitfalls. Kelsey had to cry at night while we made mistakes, right? But we're here to tell you how to do it right, how to do it ethically, how to be professional, how to make great money, how to provide for your family. I mean, the list goes on and on. How to have fun at work, how to work with your spouse, how to go on vacation when you want and pay cash for stuff, how to get out of debt, how to have rentals long term and other people are paying them off and you're getting a check every single month and you didn't make one mortgage payment. Like, guys, this is the tip of the iceberg, and I'm fired up. I just gotta calm down. I got tea in here.
He's got the logo. He's repping Flippin.
Oh, look at me. I'm like double repping. But hey, so Kelsey, what do you want to talk about tonight? Before we dive into the actual training, what do you want to talk about?
First, this is my husband, Paul Tompkins, and I'm Kelsey.
We didn't introduce ourselves. What?
Although I think you guys know us now. You've probably seen his face a lot on video. You've already dove into training.
Yes. So yes, I'm Paul.
And I'm Kelsey.
It's my beautiful princess.
Aww.
She makes me do all the things I do. So if I'm out of line, it's normally my fault.
Yeah, if you see him like shaking a little bit, usually that means he says something he shouldn't say, and I'm grabbing
She's
his leg.
smacking me under the desk. It's okay. All right. So what do you want to talk about?
So let's just first give a quick overview. How did you get into real estate?
Oh, look at you interviewing me.
Yeah, I'm a really good interviewer.
That's from her pageant days, right? Yeah, she was in beauty pageants. I mean, I could have been, but I wasn't. So how did I get started in real estate? I'll just briefly go over it. A lot of people already know my story, so I don't want to go too much into it. But maybe you're here and you don't know my story, and you don't know, can I do real estate part-time? Can I do it as a side hustle? Do I have time to do it? Right? I hear that a lot. I don't have time, Paul. I have a full-time job. Well, who doesn't have a full-time job? Paul, you don't understand. I have kids. Who doesn't have kids? I know of like single mothers with 3 kids that have a full-time job and go to school at night and still do a couple deals a year. What? What's your excuse again? So anyway, how did I get started? So if you guys don't know anything about me, I'll quick run through it. I was in the Marine Corps at 18 years old, did that for a couple years, got out. Always wanted to be a police officer, but I was only 18, so I couldn't be a police officer. That's why I joined the Marine Corps. And became a Florida State Trooper, did that for years, loved it. I don't know, 8, 9 years in, I just was like, man, there's got to be more. Like I was working in a bad area of town consistently. That's kind of where my zones were. Car chases, foot chases, always at the jail. I love that. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. That's what I was created to be for 8 or 9 years.
Let me just chime in and say that was before we were married.
Yes, it was definitely before Kelsey, because Kelsey would not put up with that. She would have been like, no,
My sweet mama heart. Thank God for all the people who do that. They're amazing.
Yes. So, about 7, 8 years in, I'm like, man, there's got to be more to life than making $36,600 a year, working my butt off. I had to work 2 overtime shifts per week to make 50 grand to make ends meet. I was working shift work, I'd go in at midnight shift for a month, and the next 28 days we day shift, and then the next 20 days after that was night shift, and it was I would miss football games with my son. I would miss different family events with my family, and it just wore on me. And finally, I was like, man, there's gotta be a better way. I mean, I love what I did, but I was like, I'm putting my life on the line every single day. You're open up for lawsuits. We all see what's going on in the world with police officers right now. It's like you can't do anything right. So for me, it was more of like, how do I eliminate some of those risks, but at the same time create wealth for me and my family? And my biggest thing was spending time with my family, right? Spending time on vacations, and we love traveling. That was one thing, and it's hard to do when you're a police officer. You can't just, hey, I'm gonna go away for 3 weeks. Yeah, good luck. You're not gonna have a job when you come back. So that was my big thing, and I started looking at real estate. I started doing some research, and I'm like, hey, what's one of the biggest vehicles that people are using to create wealth? And it was real estate, real estate, real estate. Millionaires, billionaires, everybody's got their money in real estate. And I was like, that's enough for me. And I dove in. And I started working Jacksonville, Florida, doing real estate part-time. I was a state trooper full-time, 40 hours a week, plus an overtime shift or 2, and still doing real estate on the side. And the first couple of years I did it, I was making $300,000 a year in real estate, like part-time. Is that crazy?
Amazing.
And I'm like, I just need to quit being a trooper and do real estate full time. And my coach is like, hey, just keep getting your feet wet, keep getting your roots down, like keep learning how to rehab, keep learning the different things. And then right about then is when 2008 hit and the market crashed and everybody just scrambled. And I was one of them because I had never been through that before. I didn't know how to protect myself in a downturn, in a market crash. Now I do, because I lived through that, and it was brutal. But I'm so glad I did, because I have so many safeguards in place right now that we teach at Flippin Experts Academy that we protect people from that happening. And then I met this lovely bride, and everything changed. I ended up going to Afghanistan before I met Kelsey as a private contractor, and
then your heart just took you in another direction.
Yeah.
You worked for a church for a while.
Then I worked for a church for a little
Which is where
bit.
we met.
Yeah, and then Kelsey and I met at church. We were in the Connect Center of our church. It's like where you connect with church staff and stuff. And she walked in, and she was like Bambi, like all innocent. But I was like, whatever, this girl's playing. And I was like, how about I connect with her in the Connect Center? Haha. And that's when it all started. She started stalking me on Facebook. I actually had to put a restraining order against her through my own department. No, I'm playing with that. I'm playing. So then what happened, Kelsey?
So from there, we actually were working together for a while. And
Yeah.
crazy story, we thought we were set for life. We had just gotten married. We moved away to work for this company, and the company CEO showed up one day and said,
out of nowhere,
we're going in a different direction, and you both don't have jobs any longer as of 5 o'clock today. and it just hit us like a ton of bricks. We didn't know what we were going to do with our life.
And that was like over 100 grand. It wasn't just, think about this. It wasn't just your paycheck or just your spouse's paycheck. It was all income ceased in the matter of hours. And I think we had like 13 days left of insurance.
And we were away from our family and our friends, and we couldn't just easily turn back home. So it was a big change for us. And that's when we rediscovered real estate.
Right. Kelsey kept saying, well, what did you do before? And what did you enjoy? And then like real estate just kept coming in my head. And I'm like, I could just jump right back into something that I loved. She has design skills. She has staging skills. She understands you're not supposed to paint a wall orange. I mean, who knew? So for us, it was like, well, I love the construction side of it, and you love the design and all the other stuff that I'm terrible at.
Marketing.
All that, the good stuff. So we just jumped right in and teamed up, and within the first 30 days had a deal. And we're cranking, guys. I mean, we have no problem doing 10, 20, 30 deals at a time. So
So it started with one, and now we've grown so much. We do about 40 to 50 deals a year.
Yep.
It keeps us busy. We love what we do. We get to be in charge of our schedule, which is fantastic. But more importantly than that, when we started real estate, I literally knew nothing. We bought a house together after we got married.
Our own house, yeah.
And that consisted of Paul saying, okay, Pat, you need to sign here, 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 and here. And that's all I knew about buying a house. You had to sign a lot of paper.
Yeah.
So he really had to teach me everything from A to Z, which technically I was your first student.
Yeah.
And I've come a long way. I think I've graduated the Flippin Experts Academy.
You have definitely graduated. Yeah. I don't even, like, you just dove right in, and I showed you a couple things, and then you were off to the races. Like,
but that's because I had a good teacher. I didn't know how to pull comparables. I didn't know how you knew if it was a good deal or not. I didn't know where to find funding. It was all brand new to me.
Yeah. I think the funniest thing is when you figured out what county websites were and how to use them.
Property appraiser is your best friend.
Do you guys listen? Write that down. Property appraiser is your best friend. I had somebody email me today. Actually, we'll answer that question later. And it's about, like, have you found that on the MLS, realtors and different people aren't putting the accurate information in there? And I know some students, even recently I've dealt with, are having the same problem where, hey, they're saying it's 1,200 square foot and it's really only 1,000, or it's 2,000 and it's really only 1,500. How do you figure that out? So one of the tools Kelsey found was working with a property appraiser and looking at floor plans and all that kind of stuff.
That was completely new to me.
Yep. Okay, so why did we start Flippin Experts Academy? Because I think people, we get asked that a lot, like, well, Paul, why are you giving away all your secrets? Paul, why are you teaching other people how to do what you do? Aren't they your competition? Paul, why are you doing this? You're not a guy that just goes out and create courses. Me and Kelsey sat here for over a year. We actually recorded it twice, just to get it perfect and get it right with the good audio and good video and all that. But, like, why did we create it? What are your thoughts? I know what mine are, but
I might steal your thoughts.
Go ahead.
So
you already know.
We created the academy because so many people came to us struggling. They wanted to flip a house, or they were trying to flip a house and they were failing. And they didn't understand why this deal that was supposed to be amazing was leaving them in debt. And a lot of people called us to bail them out and try to help them. And it just broke our hearts tremendously, because we could tell immediately this was never going to work to begin with. And we could have helped you from being $20,000 in debt.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just seeing people make simple mistakes drove us crazy. And we have a gift that we're called to share with other people. And we didn't want to just share it on such a small level, right? If somebody asked me a question and me responding, well, it's too late. The problem already happened. How do we stop the problem from happening? And that's why we created Flippin Experts Academy. It's because we wanted people to have the answers and all of the answers. Not like, hey, I listened to YouTube and it told me 2 points. And I'm like, yeah, but you're missing the biggest one. Or what about this? Or what about that? And they're like, I didn't even think about that. And like, when I was around, there was no online training. There was no courses. And that's another reason we created the Flippin Experts Academy, is because we didn't want it to be like just buying courses, right? Hey, $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 for this course, $500 for here. We wanted to make it feasible for people, and they can jump in and jump out at any time. Hey, I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I'm good now. They start cranking. They work for 6 months, and they're like, man, I'm running into more walls because I don't know how to scale. How did Paul go from one house to 10 houses at a time to 15 houses at a time? I need to get back into this. And some people stay in the whole time, but we want them to have the information, number one, right away, and number two, inexpensively. We want them to just be able to make it a monthly thing and not a big chunk of change. So that's kind of why we did that. But
and we wanted to create a safe place, a place where like-minded
community.
people can come together, ask your questions, and have somebody to back you up.
Okay, so all right, we're getting ready to kick into training, but tell any good student stories in the last week.
We have amazing students. We love you guys.
Kelsey is on fire today.
We have a lot going on.
Yes.
So we have students here in Florida who made $98,000 in profit on a house that they just sold 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that was one of their first couple deals.
Yes.
They already have bought another house and have it listed. So they are rocking and rolling.
Yes. So yeah, they did a 98, like after everybody's paid, y'all.
We're talking net profit. We don't
Net.
talk about the
Gross
numbers you see
and all
on
that,
HGTV.
like, no.
We give you the real numbers.
I mean,
after realtors are paid, closing cost is done.
Yep.
All contractors are paid.
Final electric bill comes in. Final lawn care bill. After everything, they were 97,800, something like that. I mean, how would that radically change your life? $98,000 on one deal. And they've already done another deal in the last 3 weeks. And we just over the weekend, yeah. I went to their open house and got to see their next house that just hit the market. And they've already acquired another one under contract. Like they went through our course, what, 6 months ago, I mean? 6 months ago, guys, 6 months ago. Then we have another student getting ready to sell a deal and do well over 100 in profit.
This was a big house too, a big undertaking.
Big deal.
Over 4,000 square foot. He dove straight in.
He went, y'all, I don't encourage you to go straight in like that, but he went both feet, his whole body. He even pulled his family into it. Like this guy's a full-time job, 2 other kids, had a baby during the renovation. Like his wife was pregnant and she was picking out the design stuff and the lights, and Kelsey was helping her and coaching her, and like having a baby during all this. And he's already done 2 more deals since then.
Amazing.
Like, holy smoke. That's why we created Flippin Experts Academy, to help you guys succeed faster, to make bigger profits. Think about this. If you do bigger profits, you don't have to do as many houses. Guys, you know how long it took me to figure that out? I'm always like, I want to get to 100 houses. I'm like, I should have been thinking, I want to do 25 houses and make 3 times more. I'll take that all day long. So that's why we created Flippin Experts Academy. All right, so training today. Are y'all ready? You guys can post questions, give thumbs up, raise your hand.
I think there's a heart button if you like something to say or
helps
you, give us a heart.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna kind of scroll through these while we're talking. And then we're gonna do a little bit of training on comparables. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second, but after that, have your questions ready. If you just jumped on, have your questions ready. We wanna answer them. There's a question section on here. You can start sending them right now, or you can just hold them and wait till we go to Q&A, and then you can answer as many, you can ask as many questions, and Kelsey's gonna answer them all. We'll see about that. All right, so I want to teach you guys, and Kelsey wants to help teach comparables. And I know I feel like I stress on this a lot, but it's just because I talk to so many students about it, and I talk to so many wholesalers, and so many guys, realtors are getting it wrong.
There are professionals who are struggling.
Realtors are getting it wrong. Okay, let's start off, Kelsey. What is a comparable?
So comparable is houses that are similar to your house that have recently sold, which is what the appraiser is going to use when he determines the value of your house when you sell it.
Right. So knowing, number one, first of all, what is it? A comparable is basically you matching what you're trying to buy, right? An investment property. Let me go basic on y'all. What is fix and flipping properties? Okay, maybe you're new. This is your first webinar, it's your first training. We buy properties at a discounted value, right? Somebody's eager to sell their property. Maybe it can't get a mortgage on it because lenders, there's too many issues with the house. It's caved in, it's bad, it got it in a fire, somebody abandoned, somebody died. So they sell it to us, an investor, for cash, okay, or hard money, or whatever way you're buying your properties. So we buy it at a discounted rate. We go in there and we fix it up, renovate it, make it beautiful again, and we sell it for full market value, okay? So when we're talking about comparables, we're taking the house we're trying to buy and we're comparing it to at least 3 other properties that are like ours, are comparable to our property. And today I want to talk about what 6 features we really look at and dive into. And I've had a couple of them pop up in my coaching sessions over the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna throw in some other stuff that isn't in my other training. And that's what we want to do. We want to teach other things besides what's in our normal training, other things. So you're just getting well-rounded on everything. So Kelsey, what do you think the first and biggest, most important thing to look at in comparables? Like when you're comparing, what's the first thing if you're looking at a property you need to think about?
First, it has to actually be close to your property.
Okay, so
Within
location.
half a mile is preferable. If it's the neighbors next door, even better.
Okay.
The location of the properties you're looking at, I think, is most important.
Okay, and what's important about a location? Okay, let's think about this. What makes it more valuable? What makes it more sought out by buyers? Okay, that's the thing. When we talk comparables and we talk about buying a property, we're buying a property that 80 to 90% of people living in our area want to buy it and can afford it. Okay, so when we talk about location, we're talking about what? Close to the best schools. We're talking about, is it near water? Is it on water? I had a lady today hit me up about a water property. Do you not think that's an awesome location and brings value to that property? You better believe it does, compared to 3 houses behind you that aren't on property or on the water, aren't on the water, aren't on the property. So location, okay? You want those locations to be close to you. Now it depends where it's at. If you're in the inner city, it needs to be closer. If you're out in a rural area in a country, you can expand that a little bit more, right? Because you need to find 2 to 3, we say 3 comparable properties, because that's what an appraiser is going to do, right? Appraiser comes out to your property and they say, hey, we need to compare yours. We need to be able to show the bank, the lender, that we can loan this $200,000 because your home's worth it, right? Here's 3 proof. Here's 3 properties that we can prove to you, lender, that it's worth it. And they say, oh, all those meet, yep, we're good to go. Okay, so location, talking about schools, banks, grocery stores, movie theaters, those kind of things. Now, if you're in the country, we do a lot of country properties. It's okay. Okay, I might have to go from a half mile to 2 miles, or 3 miles, or 5 miles. You just have to expand it until you can get the 3 comps that you need. Okay, now if it's some crazy stuff and there's no comps within a good distance, nothing has sold. I had a property the other day, nothing has sold in 3 years in that area. Okay, you have to do your best and you expand it until you can get it. So location, huge, huge, huge. Okay, let me think. Next, I think for me, I look at square footage right away. Kelsey always looks at location because we don't want to buy in certain areas. Okay, do you want to compound? You want to talk about neighborhoods and stuff like that?
No, I'm just saying more look at the property you're about to buy and then make sure that the comparable properties aren't next town over. Your comparable properties have to be close to the subject property that you're about to buy.
Yeah, so if it's like in a
half a mile to 2
so
miles.
Same community, beautiful. Same street, beautiful. We're actually going to go through a comparable tonight on a property we just did, and our comparables are somewhere on the same street.
You guys are getting the uncovered look of a property we actually did the real numbers.
It's actually under contract right now. It's contingent. It closes the 6th of next month. They might want to close early. Everything's already done. So I'm like, let's close early. Okay, so for me, it's square footage. Okay, what do I mean by square footage? First of all, heated and cooled square footage. Okay, if you go to property appraiser, you'll see heated and cooled, and you'll see under roof. Okay, what does under roof mean, Kelsey?
So that could be any extras. That could be the front porch. That could be a back patio that's screened in, things that aren't actually heated and cooled, and it doesn't actually count as the living square footage of the house.
Right, so simple way of looking at it, guys, does it have an AC vent in the bedroom? Does it have an AC vent in the sunroom? Right? Does it have a closet? Okay, if it's a bedroom. Those kind of things are considered square footage. So for it to be living, it has to have AC and heat in it. Okay, so when I go and look at square footage, I look at, let's just use 1,500 square foot. We'll stick with 1,500 square foot throughout this training. If I'm trying to purchase a 1,500 square foot house, I want to be looking at properties maybe plus or minus 300 square foot, right? I don't want to be looking at an 18 or 2,000 square foot house, right? 1,800, it's 1,800 would work. I'm sorry, I'm thinking 1,300 because that's the property we're going to show you guys. But I try to stay within the 300. Now, is 350 going to hurt you? No, it's not going to hurt you. But for standards, we try to go by what the appraiser is going to look for. Okay, so if I'm at 1,500, I can go as low as 1,200, and I can go as high as 1,800. Now, if there's 2 comparables, but they're in the 2000s, right? I'm not going to look at those because that's too far away from my square footage. Okay, so 300, use that, keep that in your head, up or down, 300 square foot, heated and cooled. I see a lot of people mess up and it says under roof, or like the one gentleman's question was, are realtors putting it on the MLS wrong? Or if somebody doing it for sale by owner and they're listing it all, right? Heated and cooled and under roof, and it's 2,000 when it's really 1,700. I mean, another area that doesn't count is a garage.
That's true.
Yeah, and usually garages are 300 to 400 square foot, so be careful of that and watch out for that.
And side note, be on the lookout for sketchy garage conversions that have not been permitted because they will hurt you.
Ooh, speaking like it's from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that was my fault. I did that one.
That was a long time.
All right, Kelsey, what else?
Alrighty, so another thing you have to look at is the year that it was built. You can't compare a house built in 1970 to the new construction built this year. So you also want to stay as close as possible to the year built.
Yes. Now, am I saying that your house won't sell for the same square footage as a new construction? Normally not, and it's not going to really hurt you, but you have to look at what? The wear and tear, right? A 1970 house compared to a 2020 or 2010 even, that's a 40 or 50 year wear and tear difference, okay? It's settled more. The construction was different back then. The materials they used back then were different, right? You start buying stuff in the 50s and 60s, you're doing electrical upgrades, plumbing upgrade. Why? Because you can't compare that. Like, you have to stick with what you know. So like the house we're going to show you, I think we found them within 5 years. So for us, 5 years is the limit. So if I'm a 1970, I'm down to 65 or up to 75. 5 years either way, okay? That will protect you. I see a lot of wholesalers, I see a lot of realtors sending comps to people and saying, hey, this is a comparable, and it's 20 years difference. No appraiser is going to go by that and count that, okay? So my next thing, bedrooms and bathrooms, how many, okay? Now for us, our sweet spot is 3 bedroom, 2 baths, 1,200 square foot and bigger. I'm just telling you, that's what we buy a ton of. Now, do we buy bigger? Yes. Do we buy smaller? Hardly ever. But that's where we start. That's our sweet spot and we go up. So when I'm looking at a 3 bedroom, 2 bath to purchase, I need to make sure when I'm looking at other comparables and other houses that they at least have that, okay? They're at least a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. I can't look at 2 1s or 2 2s. They don't count. You're missing a whole bedroom. You're missing a whole bathroom. That's a lot of money. Now, can I use a comparable that's a 4-3 or a 4-2? Sure, because it goes by price per square foot. I forgot to cover that in my square footage. Guys, everything in real estate is price per square foot, heated and cooled, okay? So when you say, hey, there's a property across the street, it's sold for 200, so mine's to sell for 200, what's the square footage? What's it selling for price per square foot? So remember that. I just had to throw that in there because I kind of forgot about it. But bedrooms and baths, anything else, Kelsey? Garages, she already mentioned it. They try to turn them into bedrooms all the time. Make sure it's permitted because they'll list it as a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, and it's really a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and they close in the garage. Doesn't count. Now, if it's permitted, if it passed inspection, if it was converted right, it has AC and heat and a closet, boom, you're good to go, rocking and rolling.
But you also have to weigh out the fact that you no longer have a garage, so you can't compare your house to the house next door that has a 2-car garage.
Busted, right? If you just turned a 2-car garage into a bedroom, but everybody else in the neighborhood has a 2-car garage, boom, you can't use it. Or
that square footage will come down just a little bit.
Yes, just a little bit. But let's say that's the only one you can find. Can you subtract money for not having the garage? Yes. And say, hey,
prepared.
Everybody, just be prepared for it to sell harder, meaning it's going to be a lot harder to find a buyer because if everybody else in the neighborhood has a garage, they're going to want a garage. They don't really care if there's a 4th bedroom. I'm telling you, the amount of people that care if it's a 4th bedroom is like this. The amount of people that care if it's a garage or not, or a crappy conversion.
At least in our area. But the other thing that you need to pay attention to is your lot size.
Yep.
Typically, especially if you're closer to a city, the lot size will be a standard, maybe a quarter of an acre or less. But as you get out into the country, you're going to be comparing maybe 5 acres to 100 acres. So make sure that those are in your parameters too. If you're selling a house on 100 acres, it's going to sell a little higher than the same house that's sold on 5 acres.
That's right. But also, what do we see a lot like in the city? We see property selling on double lots and triple lots. Big deal, okay? You can't compare your property that sits on a single lot to the same exact house that sits on a triple lot and not think that that triple lot's bringing money and value. It does, okay? So you need to figure out, okay, what does a double lot cost in this neighborhood? And I need to figure that out so I can add that to my numbers, because a lot of people will go in and, hey, I'm trying to match it up, but I'm like, yeah, but you don't have a triple lot. Like, you have a single lot. Yours is a quarter acre. Theirs is 3/4 of an acre. Now, if it's on my end, then I'm the winner of the extra acreage. You better believe it. I'm finding out, hey, it's $8,000 an acre or a quarter acre out here. Okay, I'm jumping my price up $16,000 because I got 2 extra lots. Or I'm trying to subdivide it and build 2 more houses. Hey, think outside the box.
Game. And these are just your starting parameters. So this is where you start. But let's say your house might be for sale and there's another one that you want to compare it to, and it is 500 square foot smaller than yours. So technically that's out of our little parameters,
300.
but it's the only house nearby within 2 miles. Then it is going to count as a comp.
Yep.
So start with these narrow searches when you put them in, and then work your way if you need to farther out. And we're going to show you just how to do that.
Be honest, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, be honest with yourself. If you're expanding your search and you find a number, you see one and it fits as a comp, but the numbers are really crappy, like you want 150 a square foot, but this one's only 110, you got to count it, okay? Now, you can dig into that one that's 110 per square foot and say, okay, why was it 110? You can look at pictures online. You can do some research. Oh, okay, it was a foreclosure. Well, I can show that to an appraiser and say, hey, this doesn't count. This was a foreclosure. Here's the house pictures. It was trashed. The roof was leaking. They did a $70,000 renovation once this was sold. Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, then I can keep going. But you have to be honest with yourself. And if one counts as a comp, even if it's bad, you gotta look at it. You gotta use it, okay? Because it affects. I mean, what if that appraiser goes off that one? So I always like doing like worst case scenario, right? And then if it comes in 10 grand more, boom. But I don't want it to come in 10 grand less. So I think the last thing, this is the 6th one. I hope you guys got all these written down. The last one, we did record this too. So if you guys want to email us and you want a copy of this, we're happy to send it to you. We're actually going to upload it to Flippin Experts Academy. So if they want it from there, they can get it. But the last one is where I see a lot of people leave money on the table.
Ooh, don't do that. That's a no-no.
Literally 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, leave it on the table, never even account for it when they go to sell their house. And that's amenities. Write it down, circle it, highlight it, amenities. Okay, what are some amenities? What would we consider an amenity? Something that other people don't have. Or something that's kind of like, we call it extra. Me and her, we call it extra features. Bonus features. What's a couple, Cal?
So if you have a screened-in porch and nobody else in your neighborhood has it, or a swimming pool, or a hot tub, or maybe if you're in a more northern state, your basement's finished.
Yeah.
That's an upgrade.
Yeah. Sheds. Some people have sheds or extra carports. Some people have a 3rd garage and everybody else only has 2. Maybe you have extra land. I mean, I know that fits in the lot stuff, but like, that's not what everybody else has. Like, those are extras. Those are amenities that people like. Anything else that you can think of?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So anything like that. I mean, if I go into a backyard and somebody's got a pool and I'm looking through the neighborhood, nobody else has a pool, and I know pools are 40 grand, I'm not giving myself the full 40, but I'm giving myself a good $15,000 and saying, hey, I cleaned this pool up. It's going to look amazing. I can now sell mine faster than a lot of people because a lot of people in Florida want a pool.
And do your research. You can research in Google and see what does an appraiser value a pool for in my county.
That's right.
A lot of times it comes right up.
That's right. You can find a lot of great information on there. Or Flippin Experts Academy. Okay, so Kelsey, let's walk through this property. So we got a property, and I'm just going to walk you through the whole backstory too. So we got a property from a wholesaler who called us and said, hey, I got a property, I got it under contract, why don't you come out and look at it? Went out and looked at it, ended up buying the property, I don't know, a couple months ago. I know we had so many deals going on at the time. It sat for a little bit of period, but we got such a good deal on it. So let's show them that property, and then let's walk through how do we find comparables.
Alrighty, stay with me while we do our screen share. And if you're on your mobile device, you might have to swipe the screen so you can see what we're about to share with you.
I'm gonna sit back and take a nap. No.
I'm gonna need your help.
Oh, you're good.
Pause the techie one.
I don't know.
Maybe if we turn the camera off and then pull up the screen. There we go. Can we see it, friends? Alrighty, so we are going to look at a property that we purchased. So our subject property, and since you're in the Flippin Experts Academy, you already should have this document, the comparable analysis sheet, which is the exact document that we use when we're finding our comparables. So you'll see, hopefully you can see my cursor as well. The address is 8308 Balmoral Drive, and that was a property we bought in Tallahassee.
So get your computer out. Guys, if you want to walk through this, I mean, this is training for a reason, or you can just follow along with us here. But I know for me, when I actually look at stuff and walk through properties, it helps me. So if you got your computer, if you have a phone, if you have an iPad, go along with us.
Excellent. So we're actually going to pull this property up to show you. Here is our list property. You'll see it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's 1437 square foot. We've got the address here.
How old is it, Kelsey?
Let's look and find out. So as you scroll through Zillow, which is a tool we like to use for finding comparables, you'll see the year built was 1977. It sits on 0.27 acres and it has a 2-car garage. And then always verify anytime you're looking at something on Zillow or Realtor.com, go to Property Appraiser just to verify all of those details. But we already went ahead, we've already flipped the house, so we know everything's accurate, and we put it into our sheet. So the address is the 8308 Balmoral. You can see my heated and cooled area is 1437. That does not include the garage or the beautiful screened-in porch. It has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It was built in 1977 and it's on 0.27 acres, which is an average lot for that area. For special features, I did put down that it's a 2-car garage because as we're going through comparables, you're going to notice that a lot of them only have 1-car garages if they have a garage at all. Also, it has a screened-in patio and the lot is fully fenced in. So this was our starting property.
Now, to me, Kelsey, a fenced-in lot is an amenity, right?
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus. I mean, people don't realize that, but when people come out and look at your house, they're like, hey, this fence is awesome. It's kind of like the eye candy thing we always talk about. Like, I got 2 dogs. Like, you just save them money at putting a fence up, and the effort of putting a fence up, it helps sell the property unless it's in bad shape.
Great point. So then if you're on Zillow, let's go ahead and set our parameters just like we would if I'm seeing this house for the first time. I go through and I only want to look at sold properties. It's great to take a glance at your competition and what's for sale, but when it comes to comparables, the only thing that matters is things that have sold. Then price point, I don't know yet, so we're going to leave that blank. But we are going to go ahead and set that it's 3 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. And then another important thing is it is a full single family house. So we don't want to compare it to a mobile home, a condo, an apartment. It's not vacant land. So uncheck all of those guys and just check houses. And then this is where we can get more specific. When you go to more details, you can go ahead and put the parameters for the year built. Since this was built in 1977, I did raise our parameters a little bit. I went all the way up to 1990 just because it's an older property, so it can be more challenging to find comparables. And then from there, I move that guy, there we go. You can see what we've pulled up. So these are some comparable properties in the area. And we're going to get back to this Kingsbridge because there's a story of what happened there and we know the ins and outs. We're going to go ahead and start by taking a look at Newcastle Court. And I already filled everything out for us right here. I'll give you the view. So it sold for $160,000. It is 1,204 square foot. It sold in 2020, which is good for us. It's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It was built in 1975. It is 0.33 acres, so a little bit larger than ours, but not by much. And the special features, I just noted that it is a single car garage, which ours is too. And I also noticed that this was actually somebody else's flip. They purchased it for $76,000, and within 2 months, they resold it for $160,000. So we know that that's going to be a
hold on.
for us.
You're telling me these people right down the road from us, we missed an $85,000 flip?
They did it.
Oh, that they beat me literally by minutes on that property. By the time I got the call and was able to go out there, they called me back halfway on the way out and they said it's gone.
It happens. That's why you have to know your numbers and be able to pull comparable sales so quickly. So the next thing that we did to get the price per square foot, which Paul talked about is so important, was that we took their price sold and we divided it by the square footage of the house.
Okay, so 160,000 divided by the 1,204 square foot.
Which gives us $132 per square foot. So that is our first comp.
Okay, so let's look through this real quick. So square footage, are we within the 300? Yes. Date sold, is it done in the last 6 or so months?
A little bit longer, but last year.
Right, within the last year, I'm okay with it. Also understand, like cities, they have an easier time giving you appraisal values than maybe in the country because there's so many comps around there. Year built, yes, we're within that parameter. Acreage, yes, we're in that parameter. Special features, they have a single, we have a 2-car garage. So ours is actually a little nicer, right? We can account for some money there. I would probably account for $7,000 to $8,000 in Tallahassee. And it was a flip. So awesome. All of those look great. Kelsey, what do you got for the next one?
All righty. So then the next one we looked at was on Lowman Court. Let's see where that guy went on me. My screen changed. Hold on. There we go. So what I did was, since that last comparable we looked at was long ago, it was almost a full year ago. So I went ahead and I expanded a little bit. I just clicked that button just to give me a little bit of a bigger radius. That way I can find a house that sold a little bit more recent to ours, which gave me this 2008 Lowman. You'll see Newcastle's right there. So it's still a comparable for us. And we went ahead and we searched all these details. So for this one, it sold for $155,000. It was 1224 square foot. It sold only a few months ago, so it's a great comparable. It's also a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's within a couple years of our year built, 1979.
Nice.
It's on 0.34 acres, so again, a little bit bigger than ours, but still very similar. And it also only has a single car garage.
And another good thing about ours, Kelsey, was it was a corner lot. So we really had the front road and the side road going into a cul-de-sac. So ours doesn't even, I mean, again, 0.3, 0.6, you're not even barely be able to tell that on a lot, but ours did have a beautiful view of 2 sides when you're coming into the community, which made it even look bigger. So, and again, and the fence, right. And this one has a single garage too, and ours had a double, a 2-car.
So when you do the math here to get the price per square foot, we took the 155,000 divided by the square footage of 1224, which gave us $127 per square foot.
Beautiful, love it.
Alrighty, so then we went and got our third comparable, which was on Portsmouth Circle. I think it was that one, but we also have Balmoral and Pembroke as we keep going. So for this one, it sold for $145,500. It was only 1032 square foot, so a little bit smaller. It sold in the summer, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in 1983, so it's actually a little bit newer. It was on 0.24 acres with a single car garage as well, and it sold for $140 per square foot.
That's great.
So we have 3 pretty good comparables there. I did go ahead and look at some of the other ones that you'll see on Zillow, and let me backtrack. So this one, do you remember this house?
I do.
We don't want to talk about this house. This house we just missed. We know it's not comparable to ours because it was actually sold as a fixer-upper. Yeah. And they got it for, I think it was $94 a square foot.
Right. And it sold for $126.
Yep. So that one doesn't count because it was a fixer-upper just like ours. The appraiser would notice all the upgrades we have that one doesn't have.
But can you, I mean, think about that. Like on 1 or 2 roads within our roads, other flippers are out there just making $60,000, $80,000. Like,
it's amazing.
right.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome to see.
Our house is to be bought.
And guys, that encourages me. Like, yeah, it stinks. I wish I would have got them, but it encouraged me. Like, man, stuff in my neighborhood that I'm buying in right now, and we all know how big cities are. Like, that's what you want to see. You want to see stuff moving. You want to see high comps. You want to see people making money, because right now, if you know anything about the market, inventory is so short. I mean, yeah, you can sell your house for top dollar, but you can't buy another one because there's nothing else available. So that's kind of a great spot to be in, but it's great to see that investors are still out there just crushing it.
Mm-hmm. So we also looked at, so 3 comparables is about standard what they get, but I always like getting the bonus. If there are other houses that can work and that are close enough, I like to do those as well. Instead of just listing them all out, I gave you guys the short overview. There was another house on Pembroke that sold for $126 a square foot. You can see that falls right in line with this house here. And then there was another one that sold for $140 a square foot, which falls in line with this house here. So we can see that on average, our comparables are right on point. So what we did next was we averaged the first 3 we found. So we did 132 per square foot plus 127 plus 140 divided by 3 because there's 3 properties, and we got 133 per square foot. And then the fun thing is, even when I add in this Pembroke, both of these Pembroke addresses, we still get 133 per square foot. So that is a very solid average for us for this resale of this house. I do like to check myself though, as you know.
I do.
So to get the after renovation value, we take that number we just got, the $133 per square foot, and we multiply it by the square footage of our house, which is 1437. Which gives us this ARV of $191,000. Now, since the averages are a little spread out, but they're consistent in a sense, I also like to go through and get a range. So I take the smallest comparable, which was the 127 per square foot, times it by our square footage, which gives us 181,000. And then I take the highest per square foot dollar of 140, multiply it by our square footage, and I got 201. So that's a way that I check myself. The ARV is $190,000, but if our appraiser was to just use the best comps, we could get $200,000 for this house, and it has all those upgrades.
So let's talk about that for a second. Are you done with this screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me go back to here. So I want to talk about something else that I think people might not talk about.
Oh,
okay.
We're going in.
Yes, we're back.
Hello.
We are live. Can you guys see me? Okay. Looks weird on there.
We're still screen sharing.
Ah.
You guys are looking at our desktop.
Yeah, you guys are looking at all my apps and all that stuff. Okay.
That's what a Flipper's desktop looks like.
That's what, no, that mine, you ought to see my other computer. This is a new computer. So you talked for a second about looking at properties that are for sale. Okay. I totally agree with you. You need to look at properties for sale, because if you're comparing your house to them, you need to make sure that when you're going to sell yours, that yours looks just as good as theirs or better. Okay. You can't compare your house to a house with quartz countertops and brand new cabinets and jacuzzi pools in the bathrooms if yours doesn't have any of that. Okay. So when you see ours is worth 191,000, well, Paul, I see your contingent at 199. How did you get that? I'm glad you asked. Couple ways. We renovated the entire house. Brand new kitchen, brand new island, brand new countertops, brand new stainless steel appliances, brand new bathrooms. I mean, everything brand new. Okay, that's going to give me more value. I can show an appraiser. Let's say he says, hey, my house is only worth 195. Do you not think you can show him, hey, I put a new roof on. Hey, here's a brand new kitchen. Here's what I paid for it. And start showing this appraiser the value of your home. I've done it many times. I've fought appraisals and won. Okay. That's,
I think I fought the appraiser.
You fought the appraiser because you write such good emails. If I write the email, it's not going to come off good and I'll probably get in trouble. You write very good emails. Okay. So that's one way where I can justify a higher number.
Plus, we also had the extra car for the garage. We had the 2-car garage.
Ding, ding, ding. Kelsey's on point, right? What did I say a garage was worth? 7,000 to 8,000 in Tallahassee. What's that put me at? 199. Okay. Now, even at the 191, Paul, would you have still listed it for 199? You bet your butt I would. Why? I want to set the pace for comps in my area. I do it all the time. Last year, I had the highest dollar amount in Crawfordville, which is a town just south of Tallahassee. Like, realtors were calling me like, "You're awesome. You helped us all." Why? We do a great renovation. I mean, there is nothing that I wouldn't let my mom move into. That's how well we do our renovations. So doing a great renovation, doing upgrades. Now, as a flipper, you have to know when to do all of them and when to do some of them and when to do bare minimum, okay? But I knew in this one we did it all, and we do almost do them in all of them. So I knew I could get 199 for it all day long. Another reason why, the market's so hot, inventory so low. So I knew I could push the number. Third reason, I always list my houses higher. Did you hear me? I always list my houses higher than I can find on the MLS.
And why do you do that, Paul?
Because I want more money. Okay, well, no. Why do I do it? Because here's what I know is going to happen. If I list it at 199, knowing it's worth 191, I'm not even counting the garage or upgrades. Let's just say it was worth that. When I go to list it, what do you think is going to happen when they contact me? Right? Hey, I got a buyer for you, but they want you to pay $5,000 of their closing cost. But they want to negotiate with you, right? I'd rather negotiate from $199 than at 191 because I just gave away 8,000 by not even asking for it. Okay, so if they say, hey, we need $4,000 in closing cost, and so they're gonna offer you 195, and we need $4,000 in closing cost. I'm at 191. I haven't lost anything. But if I start at 191 and they need that money, how much money did I just lose? Under my market value. Okay, so those are 3 tips for you. I always list it higher, guys, especially in a hot market, especially with low inventory, especially with interest rates being this low. You got to go for it. Okay, we had multiple offers on this property. I think 4 or 3. I can't remember.
We had a bit more.
We had multiple, and 2 of them were above asking. That contingent price, that's what I listed it at. I got more than that.
And people started bringing cash to the table.
I got over 200 for this house with a bidding war. Okay, that lets you know to list your property higher. Okay, that's like an indicator. So what else, Kelsey? What else about comparables should we share with them?
I mentioned the range. I don't want to dive too deep, but I feel like our Flippin Experts Academy students.
They know. They're already in it. I mean, I know some of these people on here, they're already crushing multiple deals.
They are. So the market, like Paul said, is so hot right now.
Yep.
But what if it wasn't? What if this was a new area for you and you weren't so sure, you had the comparables? I did that range. So I know going to buy the house that if the low comparables are what this guy ends up using for the appraisal, and maybe a couple of houses sell in between the time I buy this house and sell it, that low range could be what I'm looking at. And you need to be prepared for that. So what if 3 more houses sold at that one
while you're renovating it?
Yep, that happens.
Right, it happens.
It happens. So if 3 houses sold at the 126, that would change our comparables, and there's a chance that that house would have only sold for $181,000. So you need to know that when you're doing your numbers, and just be very cautious of what's going on in the market, know what's for sale around you, and work your numbers accordingly. It would have been okay if we had to sell that house for $181,000. Our numbers were built, we would have been fine, we still would have made profit.
Why?
It still would have been an awesome deal.
Because we built margins in it. Knowing the low and the high is like the market's bad, the market's good. Worst case scenario, best case scenario.
Yep.
But if I'm building my numbers, my financial numbers off of the worst case scenario, when it sells for 18, 20 grand higher, I just put that money on top of my already good number.
Woo woo. Protect yourself, build buffers.
Okay. How many times, I'm gonna ask you a question before Q&A starts with me. We start Q&A in, I don't even know what time it is.
It was supposed to be 5 minutes ago.
Okay. I'm asking you a question before you can ask me. How many times on a property should you run comparables? Somebody answer me. Let me go to the questions and answer section.
The question section, we'll figure it out.
Yes. How many times should you run comparables while you own the property? Okay.
I'm gonna say 3.
At least twice. Oh, somebody said 3. Oh, somebody teamed up with
Nice.
you. Okay, at
Tell me what
least
you're talking about.
twice. Okay, you're gonna run it in the beginning when you go to buy the property, right?
Of course.
Here's where people leave money on the table besides all the amenities and extra stuff, right? They leave money on the table because before they go to sell it, they don't run the comparables again. They're like, well, when I did them 5 months ago, I said 175, and I'm like, okay, but what if something has sold? The market got hotter. Like when we were doing this house, we were like, hey, let's go for around the 180 range. In a matter of months, the market changed so much, meaning houses had sold for higher dollar amounts in our area that pushed the comps up to 191,000. Okay, so run it twice when you're going to buy it, and then right before you list it to sell it, see what else sold. You might do flips fast in 2 months. Guys, stuff sells every single week. Maybe you're holding the house for 5 months because you're new and you don't have your crews down. Inspect it, run them again. It might go up, it might go down. Okay, like Kelsey said, the lower and the high, but just run it again because you don't want to leave money on the table. Like if we just would have said, well, we already ran it, we're at 181, and just listed it and didn't do 199, $18,000. I mean, are you kidding me? That's half another flip. Okay, all right, Q&A time.
All right, who's
All right.
got questions
I see questions already have come through.
Are there any about comparables? If you have a question about something we've talked about, if something's not clicking, let us know so we can clarify. That was a deep dive in. And you can also jump to Flippin Experts Academy to your training just to watch the module on how to find comparables too for a refresh.
Yes. Okay. Let's jump in, and Kelsey, you tell me. These are so I got some that people have already sent me. There's some up on the screen. Okay. So this person is asking, as an investor, when somebody wholesales you a deal, is their fee included in that wholesale price? Okay, and I think that's a great question to double check with that wholesaler. Okay,
Absolutely.
a lot of wholesalers are new, and like I feel like every wholesaler like wants to be a wholesaler and they don't even know what wholesaling means. But I would always verify. It's a great question. I would always verify and say, hey, is this including your wholesaling fee? Oh yeah, $92,000. That includes my fee and the seller's fees. Okay, great. Never hurts you to verify information. Never. Ask a question. There's no stupid question in real estate, because if you don't ask it and you know you should be asking it and it bites you later, it's your fault. So wholesaler fees, yes, they're usually included in the price, because here's what they do. Maybe you don't know what a wholesaler is.
So let's dive back.
Okay.
Wholesaling.
A wholesaler is, you have a seller, a motivated seller. They want to sell it. They want cash. They want to close quick. They don't want to deal with lending. Like, I got to get out of it. Somebody died and I don't want to come back down. I want to deal with it. Somebody buy it. A wholesaler will go in there, or an investor. I do it all the time. I go in there, I put it under contract. Okay. Now I have rights to the property. I can buy the property. What a wholesaler does is they are out there doing this every single day, all the time, talking to tons of people, where I'm handling the renovation side and all that too, right? I don't have that much time. They do it specifically. And they go and they meet with these sellers and they say, hey, what are you asking for your property? They negotiate the deal. They get them to go to contract at a certain price. It might be 85,000. Okay. They now own the contract, but it's assignable. Like, they can assign that to an investor, and that's all they do. Their job is to find it, negotiate it, get it under contract, and they want to sell it to somebody like me and you, an investor. And then they say, hey, I'm going to sell you this, Paul, for $92,000. Do I know what the wholesale fee is? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Do I care? A little bit, but not really, because if 92,000 works for me and my numbers, like that include, like, okay, if 92 and my renovation's 40 and this is this, and I have to make this much profit, yeah, that number works for me. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to pay that person what they're worth. They did the work. They found the deal. They put it under contract. As long as the number works for me, I'm happy. Okay, so that's all a wholesaler is. They help investors like me not spend tons of time out there finding deals because they love to go find deals.
We love wholesalers.
We love them.
It can take so much time to cultivate those relationships, to walk with somebody who might be going through the hardest time of their life. Maybe their parent had passed away. Now they have this house. They don't know what to do with it. They don't have the money to fix it up. It can't get lending. These wholesalers will walk with them through all that. They'll be there for the emotional things. They'll be the shoulder they can lean on and cry on while they're just trying to decide if they want to sell the house. It can take a long time for a wholesaler to get the deal under contract to bring it to the investor. And as investors flipping 50 houses a year, we love people, but we don't necessarily have the time to be the wholesaler. So wholesalers are great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
It's okay to pay that fee.
Somebody just asked, let's see. Yep. Kelsey, a question for Kelsey. Ooh, that's a good one. Kelsey, if you go into a home and there's popcorn on the ceilings,
nemesis.
do you recommend scraping it off and going back with smooth, or retexturing it with maybe something more modern like like orange peel or knockdown? Like what is, tell us your thoughts on popcorn.
Let me first speak as the designer.
Watch out, people, watch out.
Get rid of it. Make it smooth. I don't care if you use knockdown. Get rid of the popcorn. But as an investor, you have to be smart about it. You have to know your area, know what's selling. There's a good chance right now the market's so hot. I had to learn this the hard way with our latest one, that you don't always have to spend the money to take the popcorn down, and that it'll sell whether you do or whether you don't. That's a hard pill for me to swallow. But as an investor, the numbers have to make sense. And
Right.
You don't always have to do every single little thing to get a house to sell, because it'll probably sell without you touching the ceiling, especially in a certain neighborhood that we just so happen to be in that needs.
She's still mad at me, y'all. I just bought a house the other day and I'm like, I don't think we need to scrape it down. Like, people aren't even gonna see it. The house is gorgeous.
There's like 2 houses.
But listen, I think what Kelsey's bringing up is an awesome point, right? Is there's balance. Like, when I used to do this by myself, I didn't think about the design aspects. I didn't think about the wow factor, or having 1 or 2 pieces in the house where everybody's like, see that? And like, they buy the house because of a barn door or a chandelier or accent wall, like something that didn't cost me hardly anything. And they're like, we'll take it. And I'm like, you didn't even see the bedrooms or bathrooms yet. And they're like, we love it. Okay. You can do stuff like that very cheap and inexpensive and still give it the wow factor, and not go out there and spend all this extra money trying to, go above and beyond, or, hey, I have Instagram followers that need to see me designing stuff. Like, no, save that for something else. But like, you're here in this industry to make money, and that's what it has to be about, but also turning out a great product. Okay. Great question.
Find the balance.
So Kelsey, it can stay. That was really a question from me to Kelsey to see if I can leave it. No, I'm just kidding. This is a good question. It's a tough question. Hey, there's deals out there that companies, right, big wholesale companies are trying to sell to investors, and I'm not able to go see the property.
That can be true for auction.
It's called sight unseen.
Yes.
Okay. Here's what I would say to that. Like, should I buy it? How much is the risk? If you are a new investor, I wouldn't touch it. Okay. You don't have the experience yet. You don't have the know-how yet. You don't, like, I can look at a 1,500 square foot house and say, if I have to rip the whole inside out, I have a dollar amount for that. Like, because why? I know all my subs. I know what I pay for paint. I know what I pay for flooring. I know what I pay for kitchens. I know what I pay for countertops. I know what I pay for lighting packages. Like, I know my numbers. Like, you're gonna know them soon. Okay. So I can look at a 1,500 square foot or a 2,000 square foot house and say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,000 square foot. I can put a number on that and do the whole house on the inside. Okay. So I can go in there as sight unseen, worst case scenario, and buy that property. Whereas maybe if you're new and you've only done 5 or 10, 15 properties in your whole life, you have to go in and see it. Like, your anxiety, you can't sleep at night. Like, leave it alone. Leave it alone. There's enough out there, okay, for you to buy to be safe. to sleep, to build margins in. Now, when you're cranking like we are, and our teams are awesome, our contractors are awesome, and we got it down to the dollar, we got it down to the percent, we got it down to, then you can take more risk, because for us, it's not really a risk because we do it all the time. But what are your thoughts on that?
I was gonna say, as long as you know your numbers, you know worst case scenario. I mean, imagine there's a fire in the house that nobody knew about, and
you gotta re-drywall it,
do everything, bring hazmat teams in and get smoke smells out, and there could be mold, and just think worst case scenario, put a number on it that's accurate, and then go from there.
That's right.
I think it's okay to take the risk in real estate as long as you know your numbers.
Kelsey nailed it right there. Know your numbers. Okay. That's where you're going to mess up. I'm in the process of writing a book. Kelsey's writing a mini book. And one of the biggest things we've always preached on from day one is know your numbers. I mean, know your purchase number, know your renovation number, know your timelines. How long are you going to hold it out? You know, how, if you're borrowing money, how long is it going to sit out? Know your numbers of when you're going to sell it. How long are you going to sit? Like, you have to know everything.
Utilities, every little piece adds up.
Lawn care, photography, housekeeping, like, but listen, don't stress out. In Flippin Experts Academy, we give you all the downloads. We give you all the forms you're going to need. We're going to give you all the videos, advice. So like, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, it's not that hard. You just haven't done it yet. And once you do it once or twice, I mean, I'm telling y'all, Kelsey was my first student. And if I can teach her,
he can literally teach
like,
anybody.
that sounded really, really bad. But seriously, if I could teach someone who had no interest in real estate how to do real estate, and like that, like she just, okay, you guys, you're interested in real estate. You love real estate. You want to learn it. Like, she didn't want to. It was like, okay, let's do this. We're both out of jobs. Let's figure this out. And she can figure it out and move quickly. And we were both very successful. So, okay, let me see what time we got. I don't want to keep these people too late.
One more question. We're already running over.
Are we
Thank
over?
you for staying with us, friends.
No, we're good. All right, let me see. That was the one question that guy asked. See any of these questions? Should we replace a fence in the backyard of a property that's not falling down, or should we paint it?
Or remove it, I'm adding in.
Or Kelsey's adding remove it. Guys, kind of a vague question, but I understand where your head's at, because I'm assuming that you're asking, like, should I put the money into fixing stuff like that? Or like Kelsey said, can you just remove it and save money, right? You're just paying for demo and throwing it in a dumpster or a burn pile or whatever. I think you can kind of go a couple different ways. What would you do? What are your thoughts?
It depends on the condition. If there's bugs infested in it, if it is rotten and yucky and nasty, I would just get rid of it. It depends on the area too. Do the neighbors have fences, and is this going to be a selling feature? Is the house next door maybe not so pretty and you need a privacy fence to try to cover the stuff they've got going on in their backyard? You have to weigh out all of the pros and cons, but dollar wise, most likely it's not going to bring you a ton of value. So you might not want to allocate your budget to a new fence that's not going to help your appraisal.
And if it's in great shape, and a lot of times if they're like under trees and stuff, you know, they get all that, I wouldn't say mildew, it's moss, and they get dark color and all that. You can pressure wash them and they come very, very clean. Okay, you got to not pressure wash too hard. You pop a hole in some of it if it's been sitting out there a while. But we've pressure washed a lot of fences when they're pressure washed in our houses, and they've come clean, look great, we're done. Because if you think about it, if you're going to paint it, you got to sit there and pressure wash it all, let it dry, and then go back and pay for the paint and someone to paint it all versus just pressure washing it. Or like Kelsey said, it's not really bringing you any value and the neighbors are okay and you taking it down, it's not going to be a big deal, take it down. We do the same thing, guys. Check this out. Here's a good tip for you. I probably made at least 10 grand last year.
Oh, I know you're going with this. This is a good tip.
This is a good tip.
Insider tip.
Insider. I've probably made at least 10 grand, probably more than that, last year alone on selling sheds out of my backyards. You're like, what? I mean, like, if the shed looks good, I'm leaving it, right? But let's say the roof is leaking, or the inside, the floor is falling out, or whatever.
Or it's just yucky.
I have guys in town that sell sheds. I call them up. I say, hey, man, I got a shed for you. Hey, send me pictures and videos. I send them pictures and videos. If they are interested, they come out and drive it. They actually own a tow company that moves sheds for people. They come out, pick up the shed, clean the yard, right? Any debris, if they put ruts, clean it out, haul it out, and pay me. And normally I get probably over $1,000 per shed.
We just have to throw out a little grass seed, and now it's a beautiful backyard again.
Now, guys, the floor was missing in the shed. The roof was leaking. The guy's like, well, yeah, I'll take it. I can just throw a roof on it, clean out the inside, pressure wash paint it. He's flipping the shed. Guys, can you over 10 grand? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I can do a lot with $10,000. That's just a simple tip. Again, it's kind of like the fence. If something's gonna deter somebody from buying the house because the shed looks terrible, think about the shed. What if I had to put a roof on it? And then I had to fix the floor in it. And then I had to paint it. I'm out $4 grand. No, haul the shed out and I made $1 grand. Put that 1,000 towards my budget. I could do something in the house, maybe that, like the popcorn Kelsey doesn't want to remove. I could pay $1,000 to the popcorn remove. She's happy. When it sells really fast, she'll think it's her idea. I'll think it's my idea because I sold the shed out back. We both win. But hey guys, love being with you guys. Love doing this. I think I'm gonna tell them what the surprise is because she doesn't even know what it is.
It's a surprise for me.
I just came up with it, but I want to go Flippin Experts twice a month.
Okay.
Like if you're in Flippin Experts Academy, I want to go live twice a month now instead of once. I just feel like there's a lot of value, and I think we can start some good dialogues going where you guys are joining in and we're all on video. Maybe we do that kind of thing too. But any value we can bring you can only help you succeed faster. Okay. If you guys do have questions down the road, our email is info@flippinexperts.com. Email us. Follow us on social media. I got YouTube videos up. Guys, if you don't know, we have a YouTube channel, Flippin Experts, ton of training on there for free. Okay, nothing like Flippin Experts Academy where you're getting everything. Okay, but we still want to bless you no matter what. Okay.
And make us videos with your questions too. We can post them on here. Our next live.
That would be awesome.
Send them in. Email.
Yes. Email us video questions, and we'll actually post them up on our social media. Because guess what? Your question, other people are thinking it. And if we can help you and help them at the same time, we're helping more people.
And you're our flipping family. We want to hear your story. So send us an email. Let us know why you're getting into flipping houses or how long you've been doing it if you're already on your way to becoming an expert.
Awesome. Well, we love you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We had a blast. I can't wait till, I would say next month, but it might be this month. So just follow us on social media. You'll find out when our next training is. Become part of our Flippin Experts Academy family because those people we pour into nonstop every day. We're going to give you everything we have. So we love you. Thank you from Kelsey and I and Flippin Experts team. Okay. Have a great night.